Host for me.
Appreciate it, bro. Long time coming, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
Yo,
sure.
and before we start, man, I just want to let you know it's a pleasure to have you here. You know, with everything that's going on and whatnot, for you to take your time to come down and do this with me, it's highly appreciated.
Nah, of course. I feel like during these times, I think conversations of realism, things of that nature is important.
Right.
People need to hear things and need to be said. So I'm as honored as well to do this with you, brother.
Okay,
sure,
I appreciate that.
Sure.
You don't mind me asking, how's everything going with you besides, work and whatnot?
What you mean, like in general?
Family,
Family's good. Grandma's strong. Son is doing great.
Okay.
I definitely got repping his sweater today.
Okay, and that's the clothing brand, right?
It was the Trifecta.Mindset. My son is part of the gay pride community, so
Okay.
I made sure that the first hoodie was dedicated to him. But
right.
Everything is everything. Wife is doing well upstairs, doing her whole domestic thing.
Okay. So everybody's busy. Everybody's working.
Yeah, for sure, man. In the midst of everything happening, I feel like, staying home, staying connected, all those kind of things is important. But how's everything with you and your family?
Everybody's good, man. Everybody's healthy. No complaints. Same on my side. I'm working. Family's working. Everybody's strong.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're following precautions as far as the coronavirus goes. We're making sure we have our mask on deck, hand sanitizer, just making sure we clean.
Yeah, or whatever they say it is, we take the precautions.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so everybody's good on my side. So,
that's good, man. For sure.
So I want to start off with you, and I want to, if it's okay, you can give us like a quick summary of your background, how you grew up, where you grew up, and whatnot.
So I actually was born in Washington Heights, New York.
Okay.
I grew up there till I was about like 11 years old, and I ended up moving to Queens, Woodside Project. Shout out to Woodside, of course. And it's crazy because I moved there because I was a standout ball player. Okay. My grandmother got like an apartment, and they wanted to move me out of the Heights to take me to a better neighborhood.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that, but things turned out the way that they turned out.
Right.
So background on me is basically I was a ball player my whole life. Stand out from about 3-4 years old. My older brother put the ball in my hand. And I always attest that game to everything that I do because it helped me balance between lives, right? I was always a star ball player, and I got to see the other side of the world. But I had to go back to my neighborhood. So from young, it always gave me a proper perspective of like there's more out there.
Most definitely.
I became a father at 19 years old. That certainly changed a lot for me.
Right.
During that whole transition, my older brother and my mother actually got arrested together. They did their own time. When I was raising my little brother, who's, unfortunately currently doing 25 years as we speak.
Sorry to hear that.
But he's as strong as ever, man. That guy, he's my motivation.
Right.
Because with everything going on in the world, he's one of the most positive people I could ever speak to. So it kind of puts that perspective in place. And other than that, man, I do pharmaceutical sales. I've done bartending. I lived in Miami for a little bit. Shout out to Miami, Florida as well. That's definitely my second home.
Okay.
I moved out there to change my life.
Right.
Me and my brothers there. And man, things haven't been
the same ever since.
since.
When you was playing ball, were you playing ball out in Miami too, or that was?
Yeah, well, when I got to Miami, I was already a little older. I was like 22 when I got there.
Okay.
Playing ball, like I won 2 state championships at St. Raymond. Shout out to the Ravens as well.
Okay.
I basically stopped playing around like 18, 19 once I had my son.
Right.
I did a quick little stint at Edison Prep.
Okay.
But my son was like 2 at the time in New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
Yeah. It was actually part of like a Job Corps program.
Okay.
But my son being around 2 years old at the time, I got offered a scholarship to Central Connecticut State. I turned it down, man, because...
You turned it down?
Yeah, of course, man. Just thinking about my son being that age, if he's 7, 8, 9 years old, it's a little different. But he's 2, 3 at the time, so those things I wanted to instill in him, I felt like I was missing out on too much time.
Right.
So, I
kind of came back. So it was important for you to be with your son and make sure...
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And shortly after that, my pops died of a drug overdose in me and my brother's arms as we speak, and that kind of put things really in perspective of fatherhood, what I wanted to be, and ultimately led me moving to Miami because I just felt like the way I was living in New York, especially just trying to find my way after basketball, I was a little bit lost in the sauce. I didn't really know. My whole mindset as a kid was I'm going to make it to the NBA, and everybody since I was 6, 7 years old was telling me, man, you destined to do this.
Right. So that was your passion right there, NBA, to play basketball.
Absolutely.
Professionally. That was your main goal, right?
It was anything, it was literally, making 1,000 shots a day. At 8 years old, before I even go upstairs, I would take the whoopings from my mom's, although she could see me out the window. So when I stopped playing, it was almost like I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And I figured that my main purpose was, I'm going to move to Miami, redirect my life because I wanted to make sure that, you know, when he gets older, he could be, you know, he could look at his dad and be like, man, I respect that man. And
most definitely.
I feel like the way
somebody you can look up to.
Yeah, man, of course. To me, that's the most important thing. Like, even if there was some time missed in between, now that he's older, he's appreciative of the man that I've become and the values I've instilled in him because of it.
Right.
And I felt like if I would have stood out here at that time, you know, who knows how it would have turned out, but I didn't think it was going the right way. So, yeah, man.
Okay. I mean, you and I, you know, we have different conversations all the time.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I enjoy talking with you because, you know, you always have a different outlook on life in general, you know. So going back to that, you know, you're a motivational speaker. Yeah. You know, what made you want to get into that field? What inspired you to, you know, to start doing that and whatnot? Because like I said, based off the conversations we have, you know, you tend to look at things differently, you know, and I feel like you're not just in one box. Yeah. And when you're not in one box, you're able to expand your mind, your voice, your thoughts, and everything. So with that being said, what made you want to get into that and being a motivational speaker?
You know, it's funny because that's something that actually just happened probably within the last year. And I started to think back throughout my life, right? To take you back to playing ball, I was a point guard, lead on my team. So I was always vocal, speaking to my teammates. Everybody that I've encountered with throughout life would be like, man, you always had a way to inspire me and see things differently. Right. And a year ago, I actually found myself like more down and out than ever. Okay. It was almost like I was actually sleeping in my car, man, but willingly because I felt like the choices that I made, I was almost like living off other people. And then it got to a point where it was like, I don't want to listen to nobody anymore, but this is the situations I put myself in, right? Because I felt like I was almost like a poster boy of untapped potential. Okay. Always had this. You want to explain that? Yeah, like I always had potential in everything that I did. Okay. Whether it was a job that I had or when I started bartending or I just always had a way to communicate with people and people always saw something more in me that I was never able to like to get to that pinnacle. Okay. Right? So you was able to draw people in. Yeah, basically. But then it was like I would let them down. Okay. I would get a job, a great job, I would let it down. I would, you know, get into great friendships and I would let that down. I would start great things, I would start saving money, I would start with an idea, boom, I would let it down. Something about like maybe the traumas of my past, I used to like live in them. Right? So I found myself like, okay, how am I gonna change my life from rock bottom? Right. And I was literally sitting in my car and I was like, man, if my morale is good, that'll lead me in the right way. Right. And of course, man, I need to start working out again like I did when I played ball. And I was like, okay, that'll be good. And I was like, well, if my money's right, man, okay. So then I was like, it hit me right then and there. I was like, well, faith, finances, and health. It's like, okay. And I literally faith, finances, and health. Okay. It's basically what TrifectaMindset became. Okay. Right? So I went into Barnes and Nobles and I went through the self-help section. Okay. And all I saw was a book on either or. Nothing that really had like a balance between the three. Right. So as I started to chase this journey myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna focus on nothing else. I'm gonna just go with my faith, my finances, and my health. Right. And faith meaning just my morale, decisions I make, my prayer, things that I do when nobody's looking. Right. Right. Because I'm a firm believer that the universe is always watching. Most definitely. Money, saving money, learning financial literacy, trying to make better jobs, think higher myself, everything that has to do with just finances in general, not just getting to the bag. Right. And then with my health, I felt like I was kind of always had that instilled because of ball. Right. So I just cranked that up to another level. Okay. To the point where all three started to be on one accord. And then right away, me and my lady, we was actually talking one day, because I was actually calling it Beast Life when it first started. Beast Life. Living your Beast Life. Okay. Like a what beast. Made you switch though from Beast Life to that? Because I understand the whole thing of Beast Life, you know, just going straight at you. You know what I'm saying? So but my concept of Beast Life was like the difference between an eagle and a pigeon. What's the difference? The difference between a cat and a tiger, right? One is an animal, one's a beast. So I feel like if you're calculated, if you're, you know, you're driven, you understand what you're doing day in, day out, right? Because if you look at a pigeon, not to think of like, oh, just a pigeon of the way we've used that term, just the animal in itself. They kind of just live. They make their little nest, things fly out the window, they eat something. Right. The eagle's calculated, he's driven. He knows what he's doing, he knows when to hunt, he knows when to bring it back, he's headstrong, right? Because if you walk in an eagle's den who's hungry, you ain't making it out alive. Not at all. You go in a pigeon's nest, they just gonna run around. Yeah, you're gonna fly away. I was like, oh my God, I was like, well, what if we start living like a beast? Then I started to realize that resonated more with like, working out, being like, you know, so my lady actually was the one who brought it to my attention. She was like, but if you're talking about three different things, why don't you think of something that's like three? And then we actually came up with it together.
Okay.
She was like, well, it's a mindset. And we was like, well, what about Trifecta? And I was like, well, what about Trifecta? And boom, it kind of just became that. So to answer your question about what made me into motivational speaking, was I realized that nothing about my life was normal. It almost felt like I was kind of like destined to give these views and these perspectives because I'm a firm believer that, and we've had conversations about this a lot, right? You get placed in certain times and in certain areas where it's meant for you to be there.
Right.
So I feel like everything that I've been through, other people might hear my story and be like, damn, like how did you get through all those things?
Right.
When I think about it now, I'm like, man, I wouldn't change a day, not even a second, right?
It built you.
Absolutely, man, because there was a time where I used to be maybe down and out thinking about those things. My dad, my younger brother, my older brother who's my mentor, you know, my mother, and all these things that transpired, my son choosing the path that he did at the time, me thinking like, man, what did I do wrong, right? I had to go through all these different transgressions, right?
Different phases.
I moved back and forth between Miami and New York 5 times.
Yeah.
Trying to find my way.
Yeah.
5 times in like 4 years. I kid you not.
That's a lot.
3-4 months, boom, I move back. 4 months there, I come back. Like, feeling like, man, I'm destined for more.
Okay.
Right? So when this whole transition happened of me really focusing on this whole trifecta, my whole life changed. And naturally, my voice, I realized like, man, I need to start using this.
Right.
And I was listening to motivational speakers. Shout out to Eric Thomas, Inky Johnson, T.D. Jakes, Tony Robbins, Ray Lewis. These are people that I've studied and learned from. And naturally, as I'm listening to them, I would start speaking by myself, about the things I've been through. And it kind of became like an outlet. And naturally, it just became a passion to motivationally speak and motivationally write. So that's kind of how all that came to be. So now I've learned that that's my purpose for certain.
That's perfect, man. And it's good to say, man, that, you know, by you being positive and whatnot, you're not stuck in negative thoughts. And I feel like when you are stuck in negative thoughts, that right there is poison to your body.
Yeah, it's been for me for years, man.
You know, and when you're thinking negativity, you know, you're gonna feel that. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I mean it could be anything as far as health conditions go, mentally, physically, everything. So I feel like going back to what you just said, you know, you have to basically fight all your demons in order for you to get to that light.
Oh yeah, a lot of them, bro.
Right.
A lot of them.
And with that being said too, your whole outlook on life is completely different. I'm pretty sure you feel different. You feel better every morning you wake up. You know? So
it's a constant journey, man.
Right.
Like it's not something that like I'm never gonna be the type of motivational speaker that's gonna tell you like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, you gotta make this amount of money, you gotta work out this way.
Right.
I'm not ever gonna talk to anybody from a place of where I am.
Right.
I'm always gonna speak from a place of what took me there.
Okay.
And it's something that I continue to do daily, right?
Right.
And that's why I think that the trifecta thing was so big because it's really a you versus you journey.
Most definitely. Right.
Whether it's someone like myself, it just happened to lead me into motivational speaking. And I encourage anybody else, if you do the same, it'll really lead you to your real purpose. But you have to kind of trust what starts to unfold.
Right.
People are going to come.
You got to trust the process. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The universe is going to start opening up things for you. But a lot of times, because, and we spoke about this the other day, change comes from uncomfortability.
Right.
Right?
Take it out the comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And it's not that it becomes fake, it's just that it's foreign, so it feels different.
Right.
But that's the universe opening things up for you. Because if you continue going on the path that you was in, there's really the growth in there.
Right, there's no growth at all.
Unless you may be living in your purpose already. So it's just gonna heighten that understanding of it.
Right, right.
For sure. So every day that I wake up, my faith, my finances, my health is at the forefront of everything, every decision I make, everything I think about, because it really kind of went into everything else.
Right.
I don't tell people like that doesn't mean that you don't focus on parenting or being a good person. It's just that it takes care of it.
Right.
Me doing that has made me a better boyfriend.
Right.
It's made me a better father,
They all
a better
fall in
friend,
place.
for sure. But,
Right.
you know, a harder gave me a better work ethic where I treat my jobs as my passion.
Right.
Because that's another thing I tell people. If you start on this journey,
what you said, treating the job like a passion?
Absolutely.
Okay,
for sure, man. Whether if I'm sweeping floors or if I'm speaking at McDonald's or if I'm on my stage talking to people and doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I treat them exactly the same.
Gotcha.
You have to. Because you have to respect the process.
Right.
Period. Right? I think that sometimes in life we don't give back for what we get. So if you're working at a Family Dollar, but that Family Dollar is bringing food to your family, and you got a bed to sleep on, and and clothes to wear.
Right.
Why wouldn't you give extra at that job?
Right.
Why wouldn't you give extra at what you're doing? So what if you continue on your journey and you realize like, man, my purpose is not to do this.
Right.
My purpose is to be open up a hair salon, or it's to become a gym coach, or it's to be a motivational speaker or a basketball coach, whatever the life leads you into.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you stop focusing on the current day and the current grind. It's gonna get you there.
Right.
So that's how I treat my daily life with everything I do.
And that's how everybody should treat their life, because if you're stuck in that one mindset, okay, I'm going to work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you're not gonna, like you said, there's no growth, because every day you're waking up doing the same thing. You're not out there challenging yourself, basically. You know what I'm saying? But in order for you to see growth, you're gonna have to challenge yourself, like you said earlier. You're gonna have to put yourself out there, like you said before. You're gonna have to get out your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
So going back to the people that inspired you, like the motivational speakers, you named a few. Eric Thomas, that's his name.
Eric Thomas.
Yeah, I listen to his videos a lot. He's very motivational, man. Can you name me any motivational speakers that influenced you, that really made you be like, okay, I like what this guy is saying. Let me start doing it. Like anybody in particular, because you named a few. You named a few good ones too. But anybody that stuck out, that was like, okay, this guy, he knows what he's saying. You know
what's funny? I named all of them because I feel like I've studied all of them for different reasons.
Okay.
But the one that stood out to me the most before any motivational speaker is my older brother.
Your older brother.
Shout out to my older brother, man. He doesn't even sometimes realize like how much he impacts people with how he speaks.
Right.
And the values that he's instilled in me from a young kid. I mean, he was like a for real type big brother, right?
Okay.
He taught me how to read, tie my shoes, talk to girls, how to fight. He put a ball in my hand. He never treated you different around your friends, right? So he was somebody that as I started to embark on speaking, he would always stick out in my mind. Like because I always felt like he was like that last of a dying breed type dude. Like the type of street dude that walks your moms across the street and is a good husband to his wife and a father to his kids, but
genuine.
Absolutely, bro. You say something slick, you'll smack your head off. And I think that people don't know how to balance that.
Right.
So I started thinking about Trifecta, I would think of him, right? But when I think about the people I started listening to, the first one was actually Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis, okay.
Ray Lewis, football player.
Okay.
I actually listened to one of his TED Talks, and he talked about why he wore the number 52. And that's actually how I started working out. He wears the number 52 because he actually uses a deck of cards. He started using a deck of cards when his mother would get beat by all her boyfriends.
Oh, wow.
He realized like, okay, I need to get strong because I need to protect her.
Right.
So he started flipping over the deck of cards, 3 at a time. Every 3 that he did was push-ups at whatever numbers it came out to, right? He flipped them over and started doing the sit-ups. And as any of you know who Ray Lewis is, he's a beast.
Most definitely.
But he started speaking of like what made him get through these transgressions.
Right.
And the passion that he spoke with, right?
Right.
And almost like little things that he would say like, you might have more talent than me. You might be more skilled than me.
Right.
But you're not gonna outwork me.
Right.
And if I take your position, if you get hurt and they sub me in for you, best believe you ain't getting your job back.
Right, his work ethic.
His work ethic was out of control.
Okay.
But his work ethic was as strong as his knowledge for the game, the way he studied film, the way he studied other people, the way he took his nutritional aspect, right? All those things kind of ran into one accord. So I listened to his TED Talk, and I would advise anybody, pull up Ray Lewis TED Talk.
Okay.
Man, the passion that he speaks with, it just woke me up. And I was sitting in the car, and I listened to him, and it started to kind of change my perspective. And as it did that, I started listening and studying different people. Right? Tony Robbins for the financial aspect, T.D. Jakes, right?
Okay.
And Pastor Rich Wilkerson in Miami for the whole faith thing and how I felt was particular to me. Because when I tell people faith, that don't mean that if you pray east, take that seriously, 120%. If it's just you're a spiritual person, then do that. But just that leads your moral compass, right? So I started to listening to those kind of people. Inky Johnson for inspiration and how to overcome things. Inky Johnson, another person who actually lost his right arm, right? 2 weeks before he was gonna be the #1 cornerback in the draft. And he didn't let that stop him, man. And Eric Thomas for who he is just as a person. The way he's persevered through so many things. I feel like his voice resonated with someone like me who was from I come from the inner cities, right? Because Tony Robbins is an amazing motivational speaker as well, right? But I feel like sometimes I didn't really connect with him and how he said certain things.
On that type of level, right?
Now he does because I've elevated my mind and thinking to it, but in those times, for sure, those are the people, and Kobe Bryant, of course, man. I mean, the way that he approached.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. For sure, I'm a lifelong Lakers fan, by the way. Magic Johnson is the reason I ever picked up a basketball. My older brother, again, put me to watch the 91 finals, Bulls against Lakers. He was a crazy
Chicago was my team. Chicago was my team.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there as a kid, and I'm like, okay, Jordan's cool, but who's that dude number 32 that gets hyped every time somebody else scores? Right away, I became a point guard, but those are the kind of people that as I went on, they inspired me. And my lady too, man. My lady's a big inspiration to me.
Okay, so going to the whole clothing brand you have, Trifecta Mindset, that's where all this comes from? All this influence from your wife helping you, from the motivational speakers? Is that what made you want to build the clothing brand?
Absolutely. It kind of like, it molded everything together. Because it actually is a book that I'm working on. It's a guide, right, that is going to put some of my personal perspectives in it. But it's a guide that I wanted for anyone to read, no matter where aspect you're coming from. It's something that's going to guide you into this mindset, right? Because I tell people I think that a perspective is so important.
How so?
Because we all come from different perspectives, right? So if you think about this point in your life when you was like a sponge, when you was
absorbing everything,
right? When you was like absorbing everything in life before perspectives took their place, right? Because perspectives meaning that situations you went through, hardships, breakups, money things, parents you might see with your parents, neighborhood you grow up in, it changed how you view the world, your perspective, right? So I think that if we can reset our perspective, right, and follow a mindset with that thinking of I'm just going to be a sponge and let life take me where I need to take me. Because you know what? I work out 30 minutes a day, right? High intensity workouts. I do the T25, right? That's my thing, is to do the insanity, right? Because it kind of takes me back to the ball days, right? I was a ball player, so I remember running laps in practice where I couldn't breathe, but I still had 10 more to go. So I had to push through, right? So that was for me personally. There's other people that heavy lifting might be that for them. There's other people that honestly, she might just have had a baby. And she walks around the block 10 times with her stroller, right?
That's cardio, right?
But what happens is that she feels the same way I might feel after a workout, but because of perspective, you don't notice.
Look at it differently. Yeah, it's like,
you're just thinking about the billboard.
That's it.
You're thinking about the end result. If we're talking finances, if I'm not making $1 million, if I'm not making 100,000, you're not going to appreciate the 35, 40 that you're making to feed your family. But if you change that perspective and realize, like, wait a minute, maybe I am destined for more, but let me learn financial literacy. Let me learn how to save. Let me celebrate big ones like paying a bill. I feel like people don't celebrate that enough. I get excited when I pay a bill. And it might be at a time when I had my last dollar. But yo, I made that. And it's going to triple because I had it. I took care of my fam. I sent money to my little brother. I sent money to my fam, to my son. Took care of my girl. My moms I stopped through. And it might have left me with nothing. But
and it's safe to say
that thing, that inner thing.
Right, it's safe to say even when you are spending your money, you're spending your money on bills and such and taking care of the family, it's not like your money's going to waste.
Yeah, but we can think that way. I thought that way.
True. But your whole mindset changed now, you know? It's like, you know where your money's going towards now. It's like, this is worth it. This is what I gotta do.
It's purpose driven for sure.
Right, most definitely.
Yeah, like I look at all three that way. Like my faith is like, it's my prayer, it's my understanding, it's my moral compass. Like what makes you make right and wrong decisions. And these are little things that like I focus on daily, just like financial literacy, right? What stocks and bonds. What is actually life insurance? How do you start it? What you get back from it, right? What's forex trading? What's currency trading? How do you save? What's a CBD account? What's all these things that we were never taught? Right? How do you do your taxes? If I wanted to do it myself, these are things I'm starting to learn and put into my mind, but they go hand in hand with saving, appreciating every money I spend, speaking manifestation into the light, which shout out to my lady again, she does manifestation talk, so she's helped me a lot with how we speak about things, how we view things. Be happy about purchases you make. If you don't feel good about it, don't make the purchase.
Don't get it, exactly.
Same thing with my health. It's not just about working out and eating right. It's about what I intake in my body, what my stress level is like, what's my sleep like, what's my conversation with people like, what am I watching on TV, on the internet, what am I reading? All that ties into health, man. I think sometimes when we think health, we just think, okay, eat right, work out, drink some protein, and you know, that's the key to life. It's that's not because, you could be the most workout person in forever, but if you think negatively and you don't sleep right and you just feed your mind with a bunch of BS, what's
you're gonna feel it.
What's the point of being healthy?
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier on how, like, thinking negative or not following, whatever you want to do the proper way, that's poison into your soul and body. And people don't know this. You may wake up one day, you may feel like shit, but with you feeling that way, not trying to make your day better, all you're doing is adding more stress to you. What stress does to you?
It ages you. Your organs start shutting down.
Exactly.
It's like, what's the point of working out and eating right if you're not good internally?
Exactly. And that's just adding poison to your soul and body. So it's 100% true. Now with the Trifecta Mindset thing, what's the message of that of the name of the clothing brand? What was?
Well, it's actually purpose-driven apparel. I wanted to give somebody something because, of course, as I mentioned, started as a book I'm working on, motivational speaking topic. And when I thought about connecting a brand to it, shout out to Mike and Deb as well, who are my partners, my dogs right there, man. We go through this full throttle, especially on the brand aspect, is that I wanted to give somebody, like, I think about myself growing up. I wore Nike, I wore Adidas, I wore Puma, I wore, all these things that Mecca when I was in the mid-90s, all this stuff that was dope because it looked dope, right? So I started thinking, like, man, when's the last time that we wore anything or thought of something that was, like, purpose-driven? There was a statement behind it. There was a pride behind it, right? So I thought of, like, well, why don't I just make shirts based upon what I speak? Right? But it's like, if I'm wearing a Trifecta Mindset shirt, right, it's like the same thing with you following the God in the book. If I'm wearing it, that doesn't mean that if you wear Trifecta Mindset it's because you're a motivational speaker. It just means that this is a purpose-driven thing. This is something that I wear and what I represent in life of where I'm going. It's just a thinking of a higher purpose, right? Rest in peace to the late great Nipsey Hussle. Starts to think about him as well, right? Marathon, right? Start thinking about what he stood for. The things that he tied not only to his music and to his clothing. So I'm like, well, you know what? Why wouldn't I have people wearing Trifecta Mindset, right? Because, like, okay, I have the Elias Pride version on, which is for people who might come from that community, right? And not only that, parents who might have children who come from that community. And even if you don't have children who come from that community, it's bridging the gap between, there's a big gap, not only just social gap, racism gap, right? There's a gap between personal preferences and a personal preference.
Most definitely, and we're facing that now as we speak. And
I was part of it until my own son, which is another big inspiration to me. That kid is like my hero. He told me when he was 11 years old, his father, being a boy, you feel what I'm saying? Coming from an alpha-driven family. Told you my mother in jail, my grandma hustled with my uncle, my older brother. We all very we rolled to the beat of our own drum. So you could feel maybe inferior coming from that kind of family to be like, yo, this is who I am. Told me, told my moms, he told his moms. And I think that it was important for me not only to represent him because I take a big statement and one of my good friends says, Hugo, that rep for your last name first. That's a big statement. So I thought about, well, Trifecta Mindset is the brand, but I'm not going to do anything until I make this voice be heard that, you know what, I come from the hood. I've come from the streets. But I took my son to his first Pride parade with pride. My son is who he is, and I'm going to rock with him no matter what. So
that's
it
blood.
Absolutely. When I saw him in his light, why wouldn't I stop people like, yo, listen, my son's his first Pride parade. He want to take a picture with you, man.
Because many people are quick to downgrade and be like, oh man, my son is such and such, he's gay, or daughter, whatever, And it's a shame that it's like that because at the end of the day, if your son or daughter chooses to live this type of lifestyle, if anything, you should what's the word? You
rock
should
with it. Just go with it. It's your children, man. This is your next of kin, man.
That's it.
What you do personally if you wear your hair green, if whatever you want to do.
Right. If you want to,
my job is just to guide you in life and hope that you become a great person.
Right.
What you do personally has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But it took, shout out to my boys too, good fellas, man. Love y'all niggas. We actually been friends for 20 years.
Okay.
And they helped me a lot through that transition at first.
Right.
You know, because I never ever, even when he first told me, thought anything of like, you know, to go against it or whatever.
Right.
I just almost took it personally as a man, like, well, was it something that I did?
Okay.
Natural. This is just being 1,000.
Most definitely.
Right?
Right.
But my boys like, nah, bro, you didn't do nothing. This is your kid.
Right.
And it was just like that. I was, you know, you're absolutely right. It was nothing I did. Because he is who he is.
And he respects that more.
Oh, for
being
sure,
that, you
man.
know, he came out and told you, you know, who he
supported
is.
from day one.
Right, exactly. That makes him respect
And my
you
family
more.
too, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
man.
it's quick for family members to be like, you know what, I don't want no parts with you because you roll this type of way.
Yeah.
But no, it was nothing but support from you and your family. And that's the way it's supposed to be, man.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So just to go back to the brand,
Yeah.
it's like everything has a theme, right? This is for him, for that bridge, right?
Okay.
Then my stepdaughter, she actually has cystic fibrosis. For those who don't know, it's a lung deficiency, right?
Right.
Where, you know, there's some severe cases more than others. Luckily for her, she kind of just does therapy 2 times a day.
Okay.
But man, she's strong.
Right.
You tell her cystic fibrosis, like, what cystic fibrosis? What you talking about?
Right.
She lives her life like anybody else. She just
Right.
picked up basketball. You know where they say that if you have cystic fibrosis, you shouldn't run like that. She runs all the time.
She doesn't let it stop her.
No. She doesn't even think about it, bro.
Mhm.
She has to take pills every time she eats because the mucus develops in your lungs, and that's the problem.
Right.
Right? So we have the purple and turquoise that's dedicated to that.
Okay.
Not only just cystic fibrosis, people with immune deficiencies.
Right.
In the COVID aspect, in the pandemic, that was one of the top 3 things of people who should have a fear.
Right.
We talked to her about it, she's like, I ain't got no fear.
Right.
We have to bother her to put a mask on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because she's like, yo, whatever, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so everything that has a statement behind it. Then I have the orange, which is for my little brother,
Okay.
right? Who, you know, he's doing his time like a man.
Right.
He got locked up when he was 20. He's 30 now. He still got 15 to go. Hopefully, he does get out early because we, you know, post appeals and things like that.
Right.
But, yo, bro, he's the most positive person you can ever talk to. I talk to him, and sometimes I feel like maybe I'm more hurting than he is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole orange aspect dedicated to that because it's a journey thing.
Right.
I call it Gordo's journey. Because if you're doing a trifecta journey, you might think that your uphill climb is maybe too far up.
Right.
But if you think of him, it brings you back to perspective, right?
Even back to your daughter as well too. Because
Yeah.
somebody else that may have the same condition as her, it'll be so easy for them to be like, you know
Pack
what,
it
this
in.
is right, and that's it. Not even realizing by you thinking that way, you're already giving up.
Mm-hmm.
But no, your daughter is like, no, I got this, but guess what? I'm not gonna let this stop me from being who I wanna be. I'm gonna continue being strong. I'm gonna play basketball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out there.
Mm-hmm.
That right there alone just shows how strong she is.
Yeah.
And how eventually, maybe later in the future, she'll be 10 times even healthier. You know
Absolutely,
what I'm saying?
for
Because
sure.
all that negativity is not gonna drown her out with, you know, poisonous. She's being strong.
Back
she's
to what we were
positive.
saying, your
Right.
orange, your things. If you think positive, man,
Right.
like even all 3 of them, like
Yeah.
I have other statement apparel is what I call it, right? Like one for my older brother, last of a dying breed, that kind of person. It'll have his own colors, right?
Right.
She exists, which is the kind of woman I feel my lady is. That people might think that woman don't exist anymore. No, they're out there. They're patient enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So each of the whole trifecta mindset will have the same type of design,
Okay.
right? Because this was the first one I ever made.
It's nice by the way too.
I appreciate it. Thank you, my brother. You know, it has the lion now, things like that, because each lion represents a different thing,
Okay.
right? So that's what I want the brand to represent.
Got it.
Kind of like a journey, a journey, a purpose-driven thing. Wear something that stands for something, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna go along your life, you're gonna wear something that's gonna remind you. Like we all have our days. I have my days.
Right.
We all have our days, man.
Most
like
definitely.
nobody's perfect.
Right.
I have my days that I'm down, days that I feel like, man, where am I going? Is this gonna be right?
Right.
And different things that get me back up. I might look at the sweater. I might talk to my son. I might look at my stepdaughter. I might talk to my older brother. Just see a picture of him and my nephews.
That would change your whole mood.
My whole mood.
And I kind of do that too as a person. There may be days where I feel like, you know, I wake up, I may not be in the mood. What I'll do, I'll probably call up a few family members because I know speaking to a particular person is going to make my day better.
Yeah.
Or even like reading a book, or even like, you know, doing what I'm doing now. It makes me happy. I'm going to go straight towards to whatever that makes me happy in order for me to switch up my mood.
Yeah. And you know what? And there's certain days where it's like, it's okay, man, to feel like I'm just gonna chill today.
Right. Yeah,
Sometimes like that's something that I almost like had to learn.
Right.
Because I'm giving, I'm writing, I'm putting out content, I'm speaking life into people. There's people I text with on a daily basis that I might just drop some gems to and stuff like that. And sometimes you exuberate a lot.
Yeah.
But you just might feel like, damn, I feel depleted today. I just want to chill in bed.
Right.
I just want to relax.
You
Cool with my lady, watch some basketball.
Right.
Just want to chill.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there used to be a time I felt like it was a problem. Because it takes me back to where I did that too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where I was just down and out, and I was like, yo, forget this. I'm just gonna smoke me an L, and I'm just gonna say F the world.
But now it's more structured though.
Oh, for sure. That's what Trifecta did for me. It's a structured thing, man. Absolutely. Because even on those days where I just want to chill, that doesn't mean that I don't take my vitamins. Shout out to Melaleuca as well, wellness company. Man, I gotta put you on to that.
Yeah,
and any of y'all who out there listening, Melaleuca, man, bro, listen, it gets shipped to your door. Everything. I mean, if Dr. Sebi was alive, this would be something that he would endorse. Right? Because from the vitamins I take, the stuff that we clean with is all biodegradable. Because we mentioned, my lady put me on, her daughter had cystic fibrosis. Yo, you clean with Lysol, people don't know this. You just smoke 20 cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up seasoned in the tub with Ajax, right?
Yeah,
and we let it sit there for a few hours.
Right.
Yo, everybody in the crib. And you could look up this study, like it's for real, for real. These toxins are put out there that it does what it's supposed to, but at the expense of your health.
Right.
It's gonna make it, you know, your tub super clean. Vitamins you take is gonna give you what you need, but at the expense of your pancreas. Right. And your liver, which is processes through. You might get the protein that you need, right? But if you don't continue taking it, your body's gonna go back 10 times worse than what it was when you stopped.
Most definitely.
Found this company, good to go. Shout out to my lady for putting me on to that. Right? But that doesn't mean like I'm going back to if I'm down and out. I'm still doing that. Still making sure I eat right. I'm still making right moral decisions. Being the best man that I could be to my lady. Speaking life into my son. Playing with my stepdaughter. Talking to my niece and nephews. Making sure I'm reaching out to them. Right? Because what happens when I was down and out, I disconnected from everybody. I was a womanizer. I had a big problem with lying to people. Because I was never comfortable with who I was. Right? So if I, just like me telling you my life story, imagine trying to have that as a normal conversation. Right away, people gonna feel pretty. They're gonna be like, damn, how? I never used to want to get into those combos. So I'd rather tell you something else. I'd rather tell you how I'm not feeling. I'm feeling this way, but I'm gonna tell you I'm good. Yo, what were you doing? I was doing this, but I'm gonna tell you something else. And that shit led into like white lies. Forget about it. That was one of the biggest demons I had to face.
Guarding your heart.
Absolutely, right? But it turned me into like a habitual liar.
Right. You
would tell me my sweater's black and be like, nah, it's white.
Right.
Yeah, I'm wearing a black sweater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I make sure I focus on all these things, right? How much money did I spend today? How much am I saving? How much are we putting together for our future? All these kind of things, although I'm down and out. So, you know, if there's anything that I could preach to people is that, yo, go in your transition. Figure out what this you versus you is, right? Because if you do it at 120%, yo, I'm telling you, everything else takes care of it. Because I'm not telling you, don't focus on parenting. Don't focus on the grind. Don't do this. No. Just every decision you make at 120%, figure out first, what does faith, finances, and health mean to you? Right? Is it that you a person going from a size 5 to a size 0? Or you just a person a size 50 trying to go down to a 45? So what? That's okay. That's okay. Fuck the billboards. Fuck the people who make $1 million. Right? Because what's the difference between somebody who's a CEO and he hangs himself, unfortunately, and you have people who live in Costa Rica, right? And 10 people in one shack. And they happy as all hell. What's the difference? They live in their purpose, man. The other person may have chased a different perspective that wasn't him. Because if you ask me, yo, how much money do you want to make? I'll say as much money as I can make that I can still balance everything in my life that I do now. Still reach out to the people that I reach out to. Still shoot a quick text to my boys in my chat. Speak to my niece for a little bit on FaceTime and check on my older brother. Answer my little brother's phone calls, which was still super hard. That's like my last thing. I raised him. Like what my older brother gave me, I tried to give him as appreciative as I could. So when that happened, I felt like a burden of, damn, I let him down. So I went through a time I wasn't even talking to him. I wasn't writing to him. I wasn't answering his calls. and you realize like, yo, that's not the way to go, man. He needs you. This is your brother.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
System, yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm just like, as much money as I can make, that I can still do these things, that I can still cuddle with my lady, take on dates, bring her flowers, be home for dinner. Cool.
It's about having that balance.
For me.
Right.
That's my drive.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's certain things where if you make, not saying that everybody that makes $500 million a year doesn't have that balance, but they sharks, man, and most respect to them, because they're gonna miss a lot of parent recitals. They're gonna miss a lot of dinners at home. They're gonna miss a lot of conversations and graduations and things of that nature, but that's okay because that's who they are. So they find somebody who's okay with that. So I think that sometimes, on the contrary, we have people who chase this dream and give up all these things in the process. And they get there and they are empty as all hell. And then they realize, like, why did I give up all these things to get there? I'm on my third marriage. My family don't talk to me. All these things because you just focus. And now you got there. Because if all you're chasing is money, money's endless, bro. You ain't never gonna be happy, man. It just is what it is. There might be a down payment to happiness, but if you continue to chase it, where's the end all?
There isn't, especially with money.
So you set a marker.
If
I'm $100,000 a year person, $50,000 a year person, if I'm a person who just wants to pray all day, every day, I want to go to church 7 days a week or once a month, that's me, and you have to feel okay with that. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to teach people with Trifecta Mindset. It's a you versus you thing.
Okay. So what type of advice would you give to somebody? You kind of gave it in a way just now, but how would you break it down to a young entrepreneur or just anybody in general that's trying to get something going for themselves?
Oh man, what would I tell them?
What type of advice would you give to somebody that's trying to, get something going for themselves? It could be anything,
I would certainly say, like, first, be intentional with what you're doing.
Have a purpose.
Don't do it because
everybody else is doing it.
Not because everybody else is doing it, like, for vain reasons. Right? Like, if you want to be an NBA player, right? Like, when I used to be shooting all these shots, I would literally have to make 1,000 shots before I went upstairs, come hella hot water. Then it turned into 500 in the morning before school, 500 after practice. Come hella hot water, I was a hell of a shooter, right? But I used to literally be thinking about, make one shot, boom, that's my mom's Lamborghini. Another shot, boom, that's my brother's business.
Okay.
Boom, I'm gonna open this for my boys. Another shot, boom,
I'm gonna driven.
Absolutely.
Purpose-driven,
I'm gonna open up a Boys and Girls Club. These are things that I'm doing. I'm gonna impact people. I wanna make it to the NBA so I can see a little kid from my neighborhood and be like, yo, if I could do this, you could do it too.
Most definitely.
Right? Don't just do it because of course it's gonna come with the glitz and the glamour and the money and the cars and the. That's cool, because I'm not saying to not chase nice things.
Nah, of course.
Nice things is great.
You should want nice things,
especially if you're coming from yourself.
But
do it for a reason. How can you change your how can you break generational curses with this? But not only that, if it ain't that, is this really what you really want to do? And when you do it, become a student of it. Study it night and day, right? I'm listening to motivational speakers, and most listen to them for what they're going to get from it. Right? I'm actually listening to your tone, your pitch. How many times you move back and forth on the stage? What's your tone levels of speaking?
You're observing everything.
Everything. What's your posture like? Right? If you're talking on a certain topic, who are you connecting with? Who are you looking at? What are you looking at? Where's the lighting at? Right? What are you wearing? Right? Like all these things. What's the topic you put on the YouTube? What's the title of it? What do you I go to your website. What does your website look like? I'm a student of it, bro. I'm a student of it all because motivational speaking is my thing. Motivational writing is my thing. It became something that I felt as good as I felt when I played ball, even more. If I talk to somebody and impact them, it feels better than when I hit a jump shot on an away gym and the crowd goes quiet. Because I was the kind of person, I didn't like to play at home. I like to play away. It's me and my team against everybody. And ain't nothing better than when everybody's cheering. And I make a shot. I make a shot and you can hear a pin drop. Oh, I live for those moments, bro. I used to live for that. I look up at the crowd like, yeah, say something. So Those are those kind of things that motivational speaking and writing does for me. When people hit me up on the DM like, man, what you wrote was great. Or my lady reader, she's like, damn, babe, that was awesome. Because she's an awesome writer herself.
Right.
That
makes you feel good, you know?
It makes me feel as good as I did when I played ball.
Right.
For sure. And that's when I knew that it was a purpose. So back to the advice is like, yo, just be intentional, man.
Right.
But don't skip the steps.
You feel like being humble too plays a part? Because, you know, as you're on this journey and whatnot, you know, like, let's say, for example, if you're trying to become a basketball player, you finally get to the NBA, you want a good team, you know, you're making good money, you may get too big-headed to the point where you're like, you forget everything about how you was raised, how you grew up, and, you know, the struggles and whatnot. Now you just like, this is who I am now. I'm the best NBA player on this particular team. I'm getting all this money. I got all this. But then you're not humble.
I say humble confidence.
Humble confidence.
Humble confidence.
Okay.
Because I think of, like, let's say LeBron James.
Okay.
He stands up at the podium and he'll tell you, I'm the best player in the world.
Right.
Some of my people might look at that and think it's arrogance.
Right.
Because they don't put in that work.
Or cocky.
But they don't hold themselves to that level.
Right.
You gotta understand that to be the best at whatever you do, you have to have a level of confidence.
Right.
To tell people, this is who I am.
Right.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
Right? But he opens up a school for kids. Before the game, he's treating everybody as if you're his teammate. If you're right? So be confident in what you do, but not cocky, because the balance between confidence and cocky is, do you know your limitations?
Right.
Do you know where you need to work on? Right? If this is a graph, right, and I'm here, I'm gonna be confident to here, but after this, I'm gonna be a student.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I can speak really well, I feel.
Right.
I feel like I can impact people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's other things that I study every day. I haven't been on a stage in front of 50,000 people.
Right. Not yet.
Not yet, right? So I would be crazy not to study somebody who's doing that the way I've told you. Right. So I think you be humble, but be confident.
Okay.
If you can rap. Right? But don't study other rappers. Don't diss other genres of music. Don't not learn from other genres of music.
Right.
Don't hear another rapper and be like, I'm better than him, but tell him like, nigga, you suck. No. I'm better than you, so let's just compete.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Not at all. Nothing's wrong
I
with that.
miss those days of battle rapping where it was like, I'm not making fun of you.
Right.
I'm just spitting.
Right.
Like the way Pac and Big did on that stage that went viral forever, right? The Funk Flex thing.
Yeah.
They didn't diss each other one bit.
Right.
But they battled.
It was competition though.
Well, absolutely.
They was going at it.
They was going at it.
Right.
So it's like, I'm steel sharp as steel. So I'm not gonna tell you I'm better than you. I'm just gonna rap with you. Can your bars beat mine?
Right.
So if I'm going up there and I'm gonna speak, I go up there with the mentality like, yeah, I'm gonna be better than Eric Thomas. I'm gonna be better than Ray Lewis. I'm gonna be better than Tony Robbins.
Right.
But I'll be crazy not to learn from them. Kobe Bryant went into the moment he got into the NBA, he was telling people, I'm gonna be better than Jordan.
Right.
People look at him like, yo,
he's crazy.
You haven't even scored a point in the NBA yet.
Right.
I'm gonna be better than him though. But you know who he was calling every day? Michael Jordan. Who he was playing like every day? Michael Jordan.
Right.
So that's where the humble confidence is. And again, if you're chasing your journey and you're flipping burgers, yo, bro, be the best burger flipper they've ever seen.
Right.
Why not?
Sweeping the floor, be the best at that.
I'm gonna leave my trail everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
No matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna take it with that same thing. Cause I work in veterinarian sales, right? I work in veterinarian sales and marketing, where I deal with like an application and a practice management software that helps pet owners and clinics kind of just work more efficiently.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I treat it like I do motivational speaking.
Same thing.
I study it.
Right.
Before I go and call the clinic, where are you from? What city is it? What's the population? What's the median? What kind of money people make?
Right.
Who am I talking to? Am I have to talk slow, fast? What, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How many actual patients do they got? Am I calling a big practice? Am I calling a hospital? How am I going to have to speak? And it's something that me and you spoke of the other day.
Right.
The mirror concept.
Right.
I'm
going to
talk.
To the views?
Of course.
Okay.
People think that it's fake to talk how somebody else might talk.
Okay.
It's not fake. It's evolving. Right? Because if I take this piece of paper and this piece of paper turns into a book, does that mean that this piece of paper is fake?
Not at all.
That means that the piece of paper evolved.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest misconception.
Right.
People think that just because you evolve, that you're fake. No, I think fake is when you evolve and forget who you are.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you use it in different aspects.
It's growth.
Of course, if I'm at work, I'm not telling my coworkers, yo, what up, my dude?
No, not at all.
But that's not how I resonate with them. How are you? How's everything? My name is Christopher at work.
Professional.
It might be Smooth, it might be Chris around my neighborhood, it might just be Nunez.
Right.
Right? But that doesn't mean that I'm fake if I'm going to tell you now because I know how to handle myself in corporate America,
right,
that I don't know how to communicate with you.
Right.
And just because I'm talking with them there and I'm talking with you different, that doesn't mean that I'm fake. It means that I've evolved and I know how to connect with you personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't forget my neighborhood.
Right.
I'm not going to stop saying certain things or stop listening to certain music. Right? I'm listening to Pac while I'm putting my tie on.
Right.
But that's the same Pac I was listening to when I was
Back
doing
in the
push-ups
days.
and wanting to play ball.
Right, right.
What's the difference? It motivates me.
Right.
My dad, who passed away as well, was a big country person. People don't know, I listen to country music.
Right.
Like for real, I love country music. I think country music is dope as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just because you might listen to my Apple playlist, it's gonna go from Darius Rucker
Right, to
Nas,
right,
to Sade,
right,
to a motivational topic.
all genres.
Absolutely.
Right.
Back to John Lennon,
Right,
back
right.
to Bob Marley. Like
Yeah.
I listen to it all, man. But does that mean I'm fake? No, it just means it don't me. So I just tell people like, listen, chase your craft, do what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
be humble,
Mhm.
but be confident, man.
Right.
Be humble and be confident. Be a student of it. And every step that you take, everything that you do, apply that same kind of pressure, man. Because it's only going to ultimately take you to that next level. You might speak to somebody just because you took that approach
Mm-hmm.
and you're flipping burgers. And that day you might be at the register and
Right.
you take that same approach. And it could literally be a producer right in front of you
Right.
who might be like, here's something. And be like, yo, by the way, do you rap? I do rap. Yo,
Right.
give me 3 bars. Cool.
Right.
And boom, that might be the person to take you forever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sit in the back, burger,
Right.
flipping these burgers,
You're never gonna get
shit, you might not, the universe might be like, yo,
Right.
they might not
God
got in the
changed.
man, right? Look how many things had to happen, right? For you to maybe speak to that producer.
Right.
Because you flip burgers.
Right.
You're never at the register.
Right.
But you're going about it the way that you go about it.
Mhm.
And the universe just so happened that day that you were the only person there who speaks conscious enough and understands the register because that person called out.
Right.
And it was that manager that's that cool
Yup.
that breaks the rules and allows you to put you at the register.
31.
And now you're at the register and you
Right.
just happen to bump into that person.
Right. Right. And that's how the universe works. If you go about, your life a certain way, a positive
Every
way.
step in the way.
And I
Every
feel,
step in the way.
and I feel like
bro.
the people that are watching this, your viewers and the viewers that will watch, the interview later as
Yeah.
well, they're gonna be inspired by what you're saying. They're gonna be
hope so.
influenced by what you're
I
saying
hope so.
because believe it or not, you and I have a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
You influence me as well too.
I
you know?
appreciate that, brother.
So-
Things like that is why I do what I do, honestly. If I
Right.
can change one person, so it'll be like it did for me.
Right.
One person.
Right.
Yo, job well done, kid.
Most
Fuck it.
definitely.
It is what it is. And I think that when you chase a real purpose,
Yeah.
if you're willing to do it for free, that's your purpose.
Right.
I'll speak to somebody for free as much as I'll speak to if you want to charge me $20,000 for 45 minutes, I'm going to give you the same.
Right.
Same effort.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what I love to do.
Right. With the clothing brand though, where can people find the clothing brand? Where can they purchase it?
TrifectaMindset.com.
Okay.
Literally on there, you'll see my story.
And you have it on your Instagram page as well.
I have it
too?
on my Instagram page. If
Okay.
anybody who's seeing on my Instagram is underscore
Right.
Nunez, which is my last name, but
Okay.
the way people say it from my neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So it's NEWNEZ.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah, I heard of
underscore NEWNEZ.
Mhm.
You can certainly find my Instagram. There's a lot of things on there that you'll see, perspectives that I like to give.
Okay.
And a shout out to again Mike and Deb, all my partners, which they're gonna be on the actual Trifecta Mindset site as well as we're revamping a lot of things.
Okay.
And that's my team. Every Jordan need a Pippen.
Right, most
Pippen need a
definitely.
Jordan.
Right.
And I'd be damned if I was gonna do this dolo. So I
Mhm.
made sure that I connected with 2 people who are just as passionate, just as driven,
Right.
but they have their own dynamic that I don't have.
Right.
And vice versa. So, and it's crazy because we was talking about it last night.
Yeah.
How it's Trifecta, and it just so happened there's 3 of us doing it.
Right.
Crazy, because I started that first dolo,
Right.
then I was like, yo,
You have somebody else. Yeah.
yeah.
Then you add somebody else.
And now
Right.
it's us 3 against the world, man.
Most definitely.
For sure.
Yo, so there's a little segment that I usually do. I usually ask my guest host, so if you were stuck on an island you're stuck on an island for 2 months straight.
Oof.
But you're only allowed to bring 3 things with you. I usually tell the guest host, while you're stuck on this island, food and the water, essential needs, you already have that.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch it up this time. You don't have that this time.
Oh,
So
man.
you're allowed to bring three items with you. What are you bringing and why?
You know what? Because I believe in myself so much.
And you're stuck on the island for 2 months.
And I don't know if it's maybe because I watched Castaway, right?
That's a good one, right? Way too. Well,
I'm just like, yo, I can make it happen. But if there was 3 things that I could bring with me, and I mean this with everything I got, it would be my son, my lady, and my stepdaughter.
Okay.
Facts.
So no food, no.
I'll make it happen.
Okay.
I'll make it happen. Because if I got them, I'll make it work. I'll see them every day like, yo, we gotta eat.
Okay.
We gotta eat.
That's a good answer.
Cool. I'll go in the ocean, I'll swim, I'll fight a shark.
It doesn't matter where you at, you're gonna make it happen.
We're gonna eat.
Right.
I'm gonna peel this tree down, we're gonna figure out how to make a bed, we're gonna make fire, we're gonna make it happen.
And that goes back to your whole mindset, you know,
Absolutely.
even with the clothing brand and everything, it just all falls into place, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that makes sense on why that would be your answer.
For sure. So them 3 is, I feel like, you know, I feel like people have to understand something like when you get committed in life to whoever your partner is, right? You don't diss your family.
Not at all.
Your family's important. They're your core. I love them to death.
Right.
But your immediate family, the people that you ride for, become your family.
Right.
Right. So if I don't have them to, you know, to look at me as a sense of security, as a sense of providing, as a sense of nourishment, right, which my lady does a great job of being it as well, right? So if I'm on an island and they're not with me, I don't think I'll survive. Because I'll probably be thinking too much about what they're doing, how they're surviving, how are they eating, who's gonna protect them? Somebody runs in the crib, who's gonna protect my son, my stepdaughter, and my lady? Who?
Right.
Who's gonna feed them?
It's
and I'm sure, because she's a beast, I'm sure she'll make it happen.
Yeah.
But as a man,
you gotta be there.
I'll be dead in the water on the island by myself for 2 months without them. So if I got them, man, listen, we're gonna break this coconut. Right. I'm gonna go make a spear.
You're gonna make something out of
it. Yeah. If I gotta come back with 15 piranha bites and all that, but we gonna eat, so be it, man. For sure. That's a great question, though, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The answer you gave me was so different from any other answer I got. You know, that just goes back to who you are as a person, the way you think, which is beautiful, man.
Yeah,
and that's why I said earlier, the people that's watching this, you know, they're gonna be, I know they're gonna be heavily influenced by the words you're speaking, you know, the way you go about, you know, being yourself. You know, it's easy for somebody to be like, okay, like this guy, he's out here really making it happen. He has a positive outlook on life, and I'm pretty sure people will be drawn to that because I am. You know what I'm saying? So who wouldn't
that, bro? Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is for those people who know me.
Right.
Like I said, I was a poster boy for untapped potential. I felt personally.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people who've seen me as a womanizer and self. How can I put it? I was too into myself. And I would put 50 selfies back to back on my Instagram because I know, you know, ladies would want to see it. You know, and then I just started thinking again how my older brother moves, how he thinks, how my cousin thinks. You know, shout out to my cousin 40 and my little brother Gordo and one of my closest friends, A-Star, my Goodfellas brothers, right? Who are all stand-up men. Right. Men who I feel like that I respect. Right. My boy Pet, you know what I'm saying, who's a soldier. These are people who I've been friends with for a long time. Right. Not just family, but my friends that they don't know that they inspired me by how they go about their lives, right? And when I started to think of that change, I started to take a little bit from everybody, right, to make me who I am. So, you know, I certainly owe a lot of testament to all of that because I think stand-up men is something that is slowly, not that it's slowly dying, I think it's just something that is not thought of as much. Right. It's not a dynamic that we don't think of as men as much. Right. Well, I cannot be stylish and cool, but be a family man and know how to cook. And every time my lady cook, you best believe I wash the dishes and clean the kitchen up for her. Come on, man. To be treated as a king, you gotta treat her like a queen, bro.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't she be doing the laundry like, yo, I'm gonna fucking go ahead and fold these clothes behind you. What do you need me to do? Although I went and worked 12 hours. Right, because I work, currently, I'm working from home. And, you know, I take advantage a little bit because, you know, I'm working from home from 8:30 to 6. But I do concierge as my building, which is how we met, from 3 to 11. Right. I get home at 11. Food is there. My lady calls me every day, 8 o'clock. Food is ready. I come home, my clothes is washed. The crib is super clean. Everything is immaculate. Right. Who the hell would I be to come home after working all those hours and she done did all that while she still busts her ass and does what she does in her own endeavors and kick my feet up like I'm some king of the world? Now she makes me feel like I'm a king of the world. Yeah. But so what if I did all those hours? I'm gonna come in, what do you need? Right. What do you want? You
That's
want
what
cuddle
it is.
time?
Right.
Cuddle time.
Right. Right.
Let me talk to my son. How's he doing? What he need? Talk to my son's mother, because me and I have a great relationship now. These are little things that we've had in a strange relationship forever.
Yeah.
That took away a lot from how I felt like I needed to parent, right? Took time away because we could never see eye to eye. And I realized that I had to take that responsibility of like, you would handle how this relationship is.
Right, right.
And now we are one of the, you know, a prime example of co-parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that my lady and her, you know, the father to her daughter taught me as well. He's actually one of my great friends.
Okay.
We're progressive. We was just kicking it today in the crib.
Okay.
He came over with his moms and his other son, and we was all hanging out, eating, talking.
And that's beautiful.
Absolutely,
man.
that's the way it should be, man.
Right.
My lady and my son's mother converse on Facebook, and they be commenting and stuff because that's the way it should be, man.
Right.
So
Spread
it goes back to like,
right.
yo, you gotta be a stand-up man, bro. You gotta be a Superman.
Right.
So what if you gotta work and lay it down
Right.
for your lady, and be a good husband, and be a father,
right.
and be a friend,
Definitely.
and put your arm around people who need it,
right.
and still be fresh and take care of yourself and be a hard worker? Like,
exactly.
man, listen, that's what we meant to be, man. So do that full throttle, man, full throttle.
Yo, man, before we go, man, I just want to say thanks again, man.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, I appreciate you, brother.
The words you speaking, man, trust me, it's not going to waste. It's going right here.
Yeah.
And that being said, man, do you have any shout outs in particular you want to give out, or any
man, I mean, of course, shout out to TrifectaMindset.com, right? Shout out to Mike, shout out to Deb, my partner, shout out to my